Hey guys, I just wanted to say hello to everyone that I know, friends, family, or whoever might see this, and wanted to just really open up what's going on in my life, what I'm dealing with, really, and just put it all out there because honestly, I'm tired of hiding it and telling one or two people and then being afraid to tell another person and just causing this like internal problems for me and impression management to others, and I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, for the last couple of years, I've been struggling um, with really bad anxiety and depression, it just comes in waves of just utter fear where I don't want to do, where I'm just utterly scared out of my mind. Like, my vision gets blurry, I get sick to my stomach, I feel like I'm gonna die, I don't even know, like, it's awful. And all of these terrible negative thoughts about myself that aren't true, and I know they're not true, but they just keep on coming. And then the depression comes with it. After so much anxiety and intensity, I just crash. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sleep all day. I don't want to see anyone. And it's been rough. It's been rough. These things have been big problems, but probably the biggest stress right now is something else that I really just want to talk about and open up about. And I kind of want to start from the beginning. So, when I was about 9 years old, maybe younger, maybe younger, I started noticing that I was attracted or more drawn to guys and their physique, and I was like, wow, man, that guy's attractive. And I didn't think of anything of it. I just kind of like put it at the back of my head. I didn't really notice it. Yeah, so I just went through life just kind of ignoring it and went through all the Lionheart School, which was a great journey of itself. Whew. And I finally got to high school. High school, I was gonna make a difference. At the beginning, I tried to connect with people. I made some friends, and they were good friends. I sat with them at lunch, in the freshman sophomore year, kinda. But as time went on, I isolated more and more because I realized I wasn't being myself, and I don't know. People just saw through that facade. People aren't stupid. So I poured myself more into my academics as I took harder classes, wanting to prove to my parents that I could get into a good school, that I could be like my dad who's a doctor, that I could be successful, that I could prove everyone wrong about my autism. So that's what I did. But it honestly was not worth it. Not 1 second of it. Because I just isolated myself. I got even more anxious and depressed. Um, I would literally sit in the bathroom during lunch because I didn't know who to sit with. I didn't know anyone really all that time in senior year of high school. Or I would go to the library just to study more so I could avoid people. Oh, yeah, I'd get the better grades because of it, but my mental health was suffering for it. So I finally got into college at the University of Georgia. I was like, wow, I didn't think would do it, but I did it. I proved my parents that I'm capable, and I was happy. So I went to college, but it was really more of the same. I just stuck my head in the books, didn't really connect with people that well, didn't get into the church, kept going home on the weekends, and it wasn't good. I still got more anxious and depressed, and I was getting the grades again, but it wasn't worth it. So finally, my sophomore year in college, fall semester, 2018, I um I started noticing guys more and more, and I was like, this isn't just a fate. This isn't just anything. This is something. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know what was going on, but I certainly acted on it. And honestly, I was a little reckless about it, and it wasn't good. but I'm trying to figure that out. My parents found out about my attractions towards guys is that um, when I was with a guy and I freaked out big time. I went to the University of Georgia clinic. I told him he needed his medications. I was freaking out, and because I couldn't take the meds, because I have this irrational fear of taking pills for whatever reason. I have no idea. And so they sent me to see 5 different psychologists, and they all said I was fine, I get through it. And then finally, by the sixth psychologist said, oh, he's gonna, he might hurt himself. And so they put me in a mental institution, which I did not need, and I did not belong there. Oh, trust me, it was awful. So naturally, my parents found out, you know, and they were all the way in Puerto Rico at a wedding. So, yeah. And, I understand they freaked out, I mean, my son, he's in the hospital. What happened? What's going on? Are they hurt? I'd be afraid too. I'd be very afraid, you know. But, the way my parents freak out scares me, honestly. And it's just intimidating. Um, but, I know they don't mean any harm in it. I know they love me. I know they're trying to do what's best for me in everything that they do. But, yeah, it still is intimidating for me and it makes me scared, anxious, I should say. So they came all the way from Puerto Rico in the middle of the wedding, and they were asking me so many questions of like what happened, what was going on. I finally told them I was with a guy, and they were crying. I was freaking out, and I told them it was just a phase. It was nothing, But it wasn't just a phase. It was something. So I still kept trying to connect with guys. Still was struggling with my mental health. And my parents eventually kept finding out, and they got more and more upset because we come from a Southern Baptist background, and I understand, and I was being unsafe at the same time. But the way they kept reacting was really frightening to me. But the most frightening moment, my mom, when she overreacted to something. I was talking to a guy, and I was at my aunt's house, and she found out, and it was not good. It was not good. After she found out, she pulled me aside in the bedroom, and she told me that she'd rather see me be dead than be gay, or something along those lines. By means, after she did say that, she tried to remedy it, saying that she loved me and that she didn't really mean that or whatever, but, those things still came out of her mouth, and it was very, very hurtful to hear that. I felt awful, and then she told me that after we're gonna go home, like right now, and we're gonna find an apartment for you, and you're gonna live on your own. And so I just became utterly devastated at those words, at feeling like I'm no longer a part of something, part of my family, and just feeling so rejected. So I just laid in bed for hours all that day, and that whole time I was laying in the bed, my mom was just yelling and screaming for me to get up so we could go home, so she and the family could leave me by myself. So I did not want to leave, naturally. And because I didn't listen, my mom just kept going on for hours. When that didn't work, she progressed to throwing me on the floor between the bed and the wall. The bed was like against the wall, and I was in this like small little crack. And so I just laid there after she threw me down there, and she continued to beg me to get up, begging me to get out so we could go home and she could leave me by myself. When that didn't work, she progressed to getting a water bottle and poking a small little hole into the cap and spraying water all over me for a good amount of time. My clothes became soaking wet, very soaking wet. The ground was soaked on the carpet and the floor, just sitting there, and she kept pouring the water on my face over and over and over again, begging me to get up doing that. And she said she did that because of my autism spectrum disorder, because she knew that I have sensory problems. And because I have sensory problems, she thought that if she poured water, she knew it would bother me more to get me up. That was her reasoning behind it, and that was really hurtful to feel like she would use that against me, something that I struggle with. When that didn't work, she just started dragging me across the floor. I got carpet burns all over me, and then my arms were bruised. And they were there for a good 2 weeks or longer after the event. And she dragged me across the floor into the hallway, and she finally left. I just sat there, laying on the floor. My aunt and uncle came up. They got me dry clothes. I started crying a lot, and it was awful. That's just one of the many stories from really bad reactions from my parents. But I in no way hold that against her or my dad and things he's done. I still love them deeply. I really do. It's just really hard between us right now. And I don't hold that against them in any way. It was a moment of weakness for her. We all do bad things. I've done bad things. I've screwed up, saying bad things to people, and I do not hold that against her at all. She's a wonderful woman still. She has a giving heart, and she loves doing things for others. She works for God like nothing I've ever seen. There's just, like with anyone, we're all broken. We have our problems and we have our moment of weaknesses, but, that was traumatizing, and that made things more complicated. So yeah, fast forward to now where I finally got back into UGA for promising once again that I would turn away from being gay, and, I don't know, that just never really happened, and she found out again that I was with someone, and it was reckless again, because, I was upset because I went home to get my MacBook fixed, because they put all these parental controls on my laptop and my phone, and it made things stressful because I couldn't access things for school. Things kept getting blocked that shouldn't have been blocked, and I got so frustrated, so angry, because it just kept happening, and I kept having to ask her to get me to access freaking Google Chrome, because it kept blocking me, and things kept popping up, and I couldn't do anything. It was very frustrating. And so after traumatizing myself again, going home to get my MacBook unblocked and fixed, I went back home and I did something reckless. It wasn't good. My parents found out, and now they have financially cut me off, because me being gay is not okay in the family, which I understand. Faith and the Bible, what people believe, and I respect that. But it's just hard. feeling like a piece of you won't be accepted by your family, that you're not supported like your brothers are through things. And now I have to start paying for things, and I'm honestly very privileged, and I've never had to pay for anything in my life, really. And now I have to pay for everything. And I don't know. I just don't know how to deal with that. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I'm at. And it's just very stressful. And I don't know. But yeah, I'm gay. Gay. And it's hard to hear for myself. And it's hard because I've just grew up in church, and I still hold to those beliefs of being with God, but being gay, I don't know. I've read a lot of different theoretical or theological debates on it, and I'm not fully convinced that it's so wrong anymore. You can research it on your own. I'm open to researching it on your own, but if your sexuality causes this much pain, then I don't know anymore. If it causes this much heartache, is it really so wrong? It's where your piece of you is rejected by the church community, where if you talk about it, you're immediately subjected to people pulling out the verses on why homosexuality is wrong. And oh, trust me, I have read them a lot. And I wrestled with that. But honestly, I am tired of people telling me that it's wrong and judging me or trying to fix me like I'm some kind of project, like I'm flawed in some way. And I just say to that, we're all flawed, we're all broken. We all deal with things. We all have problems. And I don't want to be singled out as having more problematic somehow than others' issues. I mean, seriously, even if we consider being gay a sin, if you're under that assumption, the way it is treated is not good in any way. There is entire programs dedicated to eliminating what they call same-sex attraction. And there's entire counseling groups. There's all these things. There was even a thing called Exodus International, which shut down because, what do you know, it wasn't successful. And there's just all this focus. If we believe that it is a sin, that is just unnecessary. I mean, do we do the same thing for gossip? What about church gossip? What about that, huh? Do we have counseling groups dedicated to the sin of gossip? Do we have people referencing constantly about church gossip and looking at the verses of that? No, we don't. We don't find that. There's no camps to help people with their gossip problem. There's no groups. There's no judgment or fixing of someone that has a problem with gossip. No. But yet, it's still a sin. And under God's eyes, a sin is a sin is a sin. They're all equally as bad. They're all equally separate us from God. But we treat it so differently. And for that reason, I have a big problem, with the way it's treated. Even if you believe it's wrong, the way it's going about it is wrong. It is judgmental and isolating, very hurtful. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and just tell everyone, there's a lot more that I could say, and I could have said less, but this is what's going on. This is what I'm dealing with, and this is who I am.